Chapter 8. Earth, Water, Fire and Air. The Charvaka story becomes very powerful when we arrive at the question of what the world is made of. Every philosophy must answer this question in some way. Some say the world comes from God. Some say it comes from Brahman. Some say it comes from karma. Some say it is a play of consciousness. Some say it is illusion. Some say it is a temporary field where the soul learns, suffers and returns again. But the Charvaka answer is simple, direct and earthy. The world is made of material elements. One of the most important Charvaka fragments says, Prithivyapastejyo vayuriti tattvani, Prithivyapastejyo vayuriti tattvani, earth, water, fire and air are the principles. This line is short, but it opens a whole universe. It says that reality begins not with invisible heavens, not with divine command, not with eternal soul, but with the physical world. Earth, water, fire, and air are the basic principles through which the body and the world can be understood. The original Charvaka texts are lost, so this doctrine reaches us through later fragments and reports collected by scholars such as Ramkrishna Bhattacharya. Still, this elemental teaching is one of the central ideas repeatedly associated with the Charvaka Lokayata tradition. His list may sound ancient and scientifically outdated. Today we do not explain the world through four elements in the old sense. We speak of atoms, molecules, cells, energy, fields, biological systems, and chemical processes. But we should not dismiss the Charvaka idea too quickly. In its time, the four-element model was a way of saying something radical. The world can be explained through nature, not through supernatural beings. The body can be explained through material processes, not through a separate immortal soul. Life belongs to the same order as the earth, the river, the flame, and the wind. This was the beginning of Indian materialism. Earth means solidity. It is the ground, the weight, the structure, the bones, the flesh, the soil, the grain, the stone, the stable part of things. Water means flow, moisture, blood, rivers, taste, softness, and the power of life to move and mix. Fire means heat, digestion, transformation, light, energy, burning, ripening, and change. Air means movement, breath, motion, expansion, vibration, and life force in a physical sense. Together, these elements form the visible world. They are not gods, they are not moral judges. They do not reward or punish. They simply are. The Charvaka thinker looks at the body and sees not a prison for the soul, but a living arrangement of these elements. The body is earth because it has form and weight. The body is water because it contains fluids and flows. The body is fire because it digests, warms, burns, and transforms. The body is air because it breathes, moves, and changes. When these elements are properly arranged, life appears. When their arrangement breaks down, life ends. This is a very different way of seeing the human being. In many spiritual traditions, the body is secondary. The soul is the true person. The body is temporary clothing. The body is the vehicle. The body is the field of karma. The body is something to be purified, disciplined, transcended, or finally left behind. Charvaka does not begin there. Charvaka says the body is not an accident around the person. The living body is the person. There is no clear proof of a person floating separately from the body. What we know is the embodied person, seeing, eating, loving, fearing, thinking, aging, and dying. This is why another Charvaka idea becomes central. Chaitanya Vishishta Kaya Purusha Chaitanya Vishishta Kaya Purusha. The person is the body qualified by consciousness. This statement does not say the person is a dead object. It does not reduce life to a stone. It says the person is the living body, the conscious body. The body is not merely matter lying in a heap. It is organized matter, breathing matter, sensing matter, thinking matter. The Charvaka does not deny consciousness. He denies that consciousness proves an immortal soul separate from the body. This distinction is very important. Many critics accuse materialism of making human beings meaningless. But Charvaka materialism does not have to mean that human beings are worthless. It means human beings are natural. We are born from nature, live through nature, and return to nature. Our dignity does not need to come from another world. It can come from the fact that this brief arrangement of elements becomes capable of laughter, memory, art, language, and thought. This view can feel both humbling and freeing. It is humbling because it removes our imagined cosmic specialness. We are not separate from the world. We are made from the same physical reality as soil, water, flame, and wind. But it is freeing because it removes fear-based metaphysics. If we are natural beings, then we do not need to hate the body. We do not need to see pleasure as a stain. We do not need to treat earthly life as spiritually inferior. We can honor life as embodied life. The Charvaka view also changes how we understand death. If the living person is the conscious body, then death is the breaking of that body's living arrangement. The elements return to the wider world. Earth returns to earth, water returns to water, heat fades into heat, breath disappears into air. The person does not travel like a hidden bird leaving a cage. The person was the living body itself. When the living arrangement ends, the person ends. For many people, this idea feels frightening. It removes the comfort of immortality. It does not promise reunion in heaven. It does not promise another birth. It does not promise that injustice will be corrected by cosmic law after death. It does not promise that the soul will continue its journey. Charvaka stands before death without decoration. It says, look at what is seen. Bodies die, bodies burn, bodies return to the elements. Where is the proof of return? This is why the famous line appears. Pasmi bhutsya dehesya punaragamanam kuta, basmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kuta. When the body has become ashes, from where can there be return? This line is often treated as harsh, but it also carries a strange tenderness. If the body turns to ash and does not return, then life is precious. If this moment is not repeated, then we must not waste it. If the person before us is not an eternal traveler, but a fragile living body, then kindness becomes urgent. If death is final, then love must not be postponed. Materialism can become cold, but it can also become deeply compassionate. It depends on the heart that holds it. A foolish materialist may say, nothing remains, so nothing matters. A wiser materialist may say, because nothing remains forever, everything living matters now. This second view is closer to a mature Charvaka spirit. If there is no proven afterlife, then this life is not cheap. It is the only clear field where joy, justice, friendship, thought, and beauty can appear. The four elements also teach interdependence. The body does not stand alone. It eats from the earth, it drinks from water, it lives by warmth, it breathes air. Every person is a temporary meeting place of the world. The food we eat becomes our flesh. The water we drink becomes our blood. The air we breathe enters and leaves us every moment. The sun's warmth helps sustain life. We are not sealed souls trapped in bodies. We are open processes. This makes the Charvaka view surprisingly ecological when read carefully. If the body is made from the world, then harming the world harms the body. If the body depends on earth, water, fire, and air, then polluted soil, poisoned water, destructive heat, and contaminated air are not distant environmental issues. They are direct attacks on life. A modern Charvaka cannot be careless about nature. A true this-worldly philosophy must protect the world because there is no other world to escape into. This is an important correction. Some people imagine materialism as exploitation of nature. Use the world, consume it, enjoy it, and do not think beyond yourself. But that is shallow materialism. A deeper materialism knows that the body and world are one continuous reality. If I poison the river, I poison my own blood. If I burn the forest, I disturb my own breath. If I destroy the soil, I destroy future food. If this world is the only proven home, then caring for it becomes even more necessary. The Charvaka elements can therefore become a modern meditation on responsibility. Earth asks what supports your life. Water asks what flows through you. Fire asks what transforms you. Air asks what keeps you alive moment by moment. These questions are not mystical in the supernatural sense. They are grounded. They remind us that life is physical, relational, and fragile. They bring philosophy down from the sky and place it in the hand, the stomach, the lungs, and the ground beneath the feet. The ancient Charvaka did not have modern environmental language, but its world-centered attitude can be developed in this direction. If we reject heaven, then earth becomes more important. If we reject afterlife escape, then the planet becomes our true field of meaning. If we reject invisible rewards, then visible well-being becomes sacred in a practical sense. The hungry must be fed here. The sick must be healed here. The oppressed must be defended here. The grieving must be comforted here. The air must be made breathable here. This is the ethical force hidden inside the four elements. The Charvaka's materialism also challenges spiritual arrogance. Many people speak of the body as if it is low, dirty, or inferior. But every spiritual experience known to us passes through the body. The monk sits with a spine. The yogi breathes with lungs. The devotee sings with a throat. The philosopher thinks with a brain. The priest chants with a tongue. The meditator watches sensations in the body. Even the person who says, "I am not the body," must use the body to say it. Charvaka reminds us of this forgotten truth. The body is not against wisdom. The body is the first condition of wisdom. A tired body cannot think clearly. A starving body cannot meditate deeply. A sick body changes the mind. A frightened nervous system changes belief. A well-nourished body gives strength to thought. So if philosophy ignores the body, it becomes incomplete. If spirituality insults the body, it becomes ungrateful. This does not mean one should worship the body blindly. The body can mislead through craving, fear, habit, and impulse. But the answer is not body hatred. The answer is intelligent embodiment. We must understand the body, care for it, discipline it when needed, enjoy it wisely, and listen to its signals. A mature Charvaka view can say, the body is not everything in a shallow sense, but everything we know begins through the body. This is why the four elements are not merely old categories. They are a philosophical turning point. They change the question from, how do I escape the world, to how do I understand the world I am made of? They change the question from, how do I free the soul from the body, to how do I live wisely as a conscious body? They change the question from, what will happen in the next world, to what is happening in this one. This shift is revolutionary. It brings attention to food, health, pleasure, pain, labor, social conditions, natural causes, and human responsibility. It moves us away from fatalistic explanations. If illness is caused by imbalance in the body, we should study the body. If poverty is caused by social systems, we should examine those systems. If suffering is produced by human action, we should correct human action. We should not rush to say, it is karma, it is fate, or it will be solved in another life. Charvaka asks us to stay with visible causes. This does not prove that all invisible claims are false, but it demands that visible causes be taken seriously before invisible explanations are accepted. This is a healthy discipline. Even today, when something goes wrong, many people look first for supernatural reasons. Charvaka would say, look at the material conditions, look at the body, look at the environment, look at human behavior, look at power, look at economics, look at evidence. Do not escape too quickly into metaphysics. This attitude can transform society. If a child is hungry, do not tell him about heaven, give food. If a worker is exploited, do not explain it as past life karma, examine wages and power. If a woman is oppressed, do not call it sacred tradition, ask who benefits. If a person is ill, do not only chant, seek medicine, care and evidence. If a community suffers, do not blame fate, study causes. This is Charvaka as practical justice. The four elements also make us equal in a deep sense. Kings and beggars are made of the same material reality. Priests and laborers breathe the same air. Scholars and farmers need the same water. Saints and skeptics depend on food from the earth. Death returns all bodies to the same natural process. The body does not confirm social pride, it dissolves it. In this way, materialism can become democratic. It says that no one is made of heavenly substance while others are low matter. Everyone is embodied, everyone is fragile, everyone depends on the world. This can be spiritually humbling, even if Charvaka itself rejects spiritual metaphysics. The Charvaka philosopher may stand before a king and say, your crown does not change your elements. He may stand before a priest and say, your chants do not remove your hunger. He may stand before an ascetic and say, your austerity does not make you bodiless. He may stand before himself and say, my thoughts also arise from this living body. Let me not become arrogant. Here, materialism becomes a medicine against illusion. But a question remains. If everything is material, what about consciousness? How can earth, water, fire, and air think? How can matter become aware? This question is difficult even today. Charvaka's answer, as preserved in fragments, is emergence. Consciousness arises from the elements when they combine in a particular way, just as intoxication arises from fermented ingredients. This does not fully solve the mystery, but it gives a natural direction. The Charvaka does not claim that a lump of clay thinks. He says that the living body thinks. The arrangement matters. A body is not a random pile. It is organized, active, breathing, sensing, digesting, responding, remembering. Consciousness belongs to this organized life. When organization ends, consciousness ends. Modern science may use different language: neurons, brain networks, metabolism, sensory processing, nervous system integration. But the basic naturalistic instinct is similar. Mind is studied through the living organism, not through invisible soul substance. This does not prove Charvaka was scientifically correct in all details. It shows that Charvaka asked a question that remains alive. Can consciousness be understood as a natural process? For spiritual schools, the answer is often no. Consciousness is fundamental, eternal, or beyond matter. For Charvaka, the answer leans toward yes. Consciousness appears with the body and disappears with it. This is one of the central disagreements between Charvaka and many Indian philosophies. A fair book must not pretend that this disagreement is easy. The mystery of consciousness remains one of the deepest problems in philosophy. Spiritual traditions have their arguments. Materialist traditions have theirs. The Charvaka position is not the final word, but it is an essential word. It prevents us from assuming too quickly that consciousness must be supernatural. It asks us to first examine the body carefully. This is why Charvaka belongs in any complete history of consciousness in India. India did not only produce theories of Atman, Brahman, Purusha, Buddha nature, Jiva, and subtle body. It also produced a view in which consciousness is linked directly to the physical body. That is extraordinary. It shows the range of Indian thinking. The four elements are therefore the doorway into a whole world view. From them comes the body. From the body comes consciousness. From consciousness comes experience. From experience comes pleasure and pain. From pleasure and pain comes practical ethics. From death comes the urgency of life. From the absence of proven afterlife comes responsibility toward this world. The system is simple, but not small. Its simplicity is its power. In a world full of metaphysical architecture, Charvaka builds a house on the ground. It does not rise into invisible palaces. It says, here is earth, here is water, here is fire, here is air, here is the body, here is life. Begin here. If you want to go beyond, bring proof. If you cannot bring proof, do not force others to live under your claim. This is the voice of the elements speaking through philosophy. Earth says stand, water says experience, fire says question, air says breathe, and the Charvaka says, live in the world that gives you all four.